Hello, everyone. Welcome to It Came from the Internet. I'm your host, David, and I'm here with Dylan. Say hi, Dylan.
I don't want to.
This was your idea, damn it.
Every part of me hurts.
Every part.
Every part.
And we're joined once again by Matt from Random Assault. Say hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt. Sorry.
No, you had to. I understand. But we're here to talk about. Oh wait, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I'm excited because I've been accused of being the guy we're about to talk to about a lot.
I don't understand that, but maybe I do actually. Never mind.
Like just a pompous asshole.
A pompous asshole who's bad at video games. That describes Matt to a T, basically.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think Darkside Phil is particularly pompous.
Oh.
So you're saying I'm better than him?
That depends. Like, is it better to be pompous and an asshole, or like to double down on being an asshole?
I don't know. I guess only the future will be able to tell us that.
But yes, so we are here to talk about Darkside Phil, who I know very little about, except the fact that Dylan sends me YouTube videos of him constantly.
Yeah.
And
So
I've never actually watched him play video games, but I have watched him eat a shit ton of food.
yeah.
Because he reviews food like he reviewed all of the new Pizza Hut pizzas when they came out with their new menu. And he reviewed different kinds of Doritos and shit.
He reviewed the new Mountain Dew flavor that came out with Call of Duty. They still put
Also, go ahead, but
today, for the first time, I have a can of Mountain Dew in front of me that does not have Call of Duty Advanced Warfare on it. It's been like 5 or 6. It's probably been a year.
I think it's 5 or 6 years.
That did not have like Advanced Warfare on it. There's more time that those cans have the names of the games on them than those games are just out. Like, I'm trying to say that like the games come out more than the cans change, but it was a real shitty way of saying it. Just start over from the beginning.
You want to start from the beginning?
No.
Darkside Phil does his food reviews from the first person, and that really bothers me.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff in the first person. Darkside Phil is kind of responsible for this podcast existing, because the origins of it is directly me novelizing Sonichu to David through Google and Steam IMs. But long before that, I was telling him about the intense void that is Darkside Phil. Because much like that guy with the glasses episode, I was a fan of Darkside Phil for a very long time. I watched his stuff, maybe not religiously, because there's so goddamn much of it, but I watched a ton of it. And I thought he was one of the funniest dudes around. I loved it. I became friends with people because they also liked his stuff. And then I fell off sometime in 2010 when I acquired Taste. And then I came back to him this year, and I found a part of me that I had left behind. And I cherished it ever since.
I don't care what happens in this episode, which it's only going to be one episode for this, but I think it's worth it just for that little monologue there. I really like the when I found Taste part.
Yes. So I guess who is Phil Burnell? Who is Darkside Phil? Darkside Phil is in many ways the proto Let's Player. LPs were around long before he. They had their origin in the early 2000s on the Something Awful forums with a user named Slowbeef. And Let's Plays had existed for a while as basically facts.
Yeah, because they used to be written. I've actually read a written Let's Play, and it's super fucking weird.
They still do those on Something Awful. They have screenshot Let's Plays. It's still an active thing.
That's how I found out about the game Yahtzee made. His Trilby quadrilogy.
Yeah, his Chozo Mythos. That's a really good Let's Play. Where Yahtzee himself participates in.
Yeah, it's cool.
So user Slow Beef was doing one of My Immortal, or The Immortal, one or the other, and he realized, this is really obtuse. I'd rather just talk over it. So he did that, and then that sort of blew up, and eventually became like its own side forum or its own board on Something Awful. And then around 2007, 2006, it moved on to YouTube, which is it's an interesting little thing. It's an interesting little subculture that has, because it's become so huge that recently, Techland, apparently they did not give out review copies of Dying Light to reviewers, but they gave them to YouTubers.
Huh.
And it was funny to see like different news outlets go like, well, look at this shady activity going on here. They're just buttering these dudes up so that way they give them good quotes after 5 or 6 months of, no, like, Gamergate is completely unnecessary. There's no problem with ethics in journalism.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What's interesting to see the shoe go on the other foot. But anyway.
No, if you want to, we're not going to do our Gamergate talk now, but if you want to talk about that part, just talk about fucking SVU, damn it.
That's what I was just about to bring up.
Nah,
we can talk about Ice-T.
That is this whole other thing. But we'll get to it. So
yeah,
YouTube,
but I want to talk about Ice-T.
We'll talk about Ice-T eventually. Cop Killer Ice-T, as I like to refer to him. But anyways.
Yeah.
So YouTube, for the longest time, Something Awful did not like YouTube. They didn't like putting their stuff there because it had very stringent rules about it. We touched on it in That Guy with the Glasses episode.
We touched on it a lot, I think. I think we talked about it in Chris Chan, too, for some reason, just because...
Yeah.
Anytime we talk about early YouTube, all I remember is, fucking 5-minute videos and all that shit.
Yeah, like the limit was like 5 to 7 minutes. You could not have certain level of quality. They required you to do. It was very strict. Google Video had easier stuff. There were other sites like Vimeo and stuff that were less restricting because less people use them. Some of them required subscriptions. But one user on Something Awful, Deceased Crab, stood by YouTube all the way. And he's still a pretty big component of the Let's Play community on YouTube. And now, no one uses anything but YouTube. Blip's dying, Vimeo's dead. That's it. There's no one else. I can't even continue the joke. That's how.
And YouTube has, as much as... and I've even personally tried other fucking services. YouTube has the best tools. Like, the fact that no one else really has no one else has as good or even, like, a comparable, like, system like YouTube's channels where you can, like, organize and do all this stuff to it.
Yeah.
So.
But Phil was never a part of Something Awful. He never knew about it. He came to the conclusion, in his own words, he was watching a guide for a game for whatever reason, and he came to the conclusion, this is helpful, but it'd be nice to have someone, like, talk over it and goof it up. And then the dude who invented the telephone, I don't know what his name is. T-phone, probably.
Alexander Graham Bell's the credited inventor of the telephone.
Whatever. He basically said, like, I didn't invent the telephone, I just made it first. Because it was a natural conclusion of communication technology. That's sort of the same thing. Once you start putting up video guides, inevitably someone will just give commentary over it. And several different people have come to that conclusion on their own. What have you. But early YouTube Let's Players were a primarily Nintendo-oriented group. I got into Let's Playing relatively early. It was like 2008, like late 2008 to early 2009 is when I started watching Let's Plays on YouTube, specifically. And the way they really do it is most of them are teenagers who can't really afford complex equipment, so they can't really, like, drop money on capture cards or whatever. So what they do is they just get an emulator and they play old Nintendo games. And then, like, the old adage of Retu Pray, which is a group of Something Awful Let's Players who make fun of shitty Let's Players, had once said that, like, everyone on YouTube, like, by requirement, has to have a Let's Play of I Want to Be the Guy or their favorite Mega Man game.
Yeah.
And so usually it's like, all right, I know this game already. I'm good at it. I can get it to run on my computer fairly easily. I just want to get my feet in the ground or off the ground or whatever. And so that's what a lot of it was. Darkside Phil was not that. Darkside Phil was doing new releases as they came out, and he was pumping out the videos. He was pumping them out at a rate no one else was doing. And he still is. He still probably produces more videos than any one channel on YouTube. Let me actually look it up. I'm going to look him up on YouTube and get the exact number of videos he has. Fuck. I gotta like...
I know it's thousands, so...
DSP Classics. He has... Alright. DSP Classics has 7,241 videos. DSP Gaming, which is his current channel, has almost 33,000 videos.
Jesus Christ!
So, in comparison, Machinima, which is a network of dozens of different collaborators across different genres, across different professions, only has 25,000 videos. And that's not even all his channels. He has other channels.
Yeah, that... from what you and I have discussed before, I have come to understand Darkside Phil as a guy who does nothing but document himself playing video games, literally, and eating food. Like, does he just order something new every single night to eat so he can review it?
Apparently not. He apparently does cook for himself, and he'll do videos on that too. But those don't go up on his video game channels. He has a separate channel for that.
So this guy's got 3 channels?
He has 6 or 7.
Fucking Christ!
Hold on, I have the list here. Let me read them to you.
I just don't understand why.
Fuck, where is it? Hold on, I got it. Okay. There's Darkside Phil, which was his original channel. And at one point, someone was like putting out copyright claims against him and got it taken down.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And he started up a different channel. Darkside Phil was reestablished because the copyright claims were found to be false. And now it's up as DSP Classics. So DSP Gaming is his current actual channel that he uploads videos to. It's what he streams on. That's his channel. He has the King of Hate Vlogs, which is his vlog channel, like his, like his food channel, his review shit, whatever. We'll talk about why it's called the King of Hate here in a second. He has DSP Street Fighter, which is because he's a big component of the Street Fighter community and fighting games in general, and he would upload a ton of matches, but he was like, I'll just make a separate channel and put them there. That one's, I believe, defunct. Now he just uses his main channel for that. The King of Hate HD, which is his old vlog channel. Red Dead DSP, because when Red Dead Redemption came out, Rockstar was flagging everything, so he made a separate channel to record that playthrough, and it's also where he did the playthrough of LA Noire. And finally, he has Darkside Phil FF13, because Final Fantasy 13 had a similar issue.
So, okay, so he was getting flagged by these companies, so he decided to, I'll show them, and name the channels.
No, it was so his channel wouldn't get affected by getting flagged.
It was like Rockstar was like anyone who did Red Dead, they were taken down. So he made the channel to cover it and then not worry about his channel going down.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Those channels are mostly defunct. He has 3 channels active, I guess. Or he has 2 active channels, really. He has DSP Gaming and his vlog channel. So he has a huge output. An output that most people really can't comprehend
or consume. Like, who watches everything?
Well, no one, and he'll note that his playthroughs are popular at the start. He gets about 10,000 views a video, and then they drop off real quick. And I know the reason why.
He sucks.
All right. So the reason this happens, this is the reason I like Darkside Phil. I like Darkside Phil because he did everything. He did every game, unedited. It was raw footage. He wasn't the best, but you could tell like no one was using smoke and mirrors on you. So I would get to see footage of games completely unedited, just random bits of the game, and then I would be able to judge like this game looks really good. I think I'll get it. Or this game looks like garbage, I'm not going to get it. And that's what I used him for. And ultimately, that's what Giant Bomb became.
Okay.
Giant Bomb now does the same thing, but with people who are competent and good recording software. We kind of glossed over this fact, but Darkside Phil records everything with a video camera.
Well, he doesn't, and does he still?
He does not currently.
Okay.
For about 6 years, solid.
Wow.
And this is well after the point where everyone stopped doing that except for the fucking teenagers on YouTube that Retu Pray makes fun of at times.
Even they don't do it anymore.
Yeah, no one does it anymore.
Retu Pray has talked about how the reason they do more like long plays of shitty games is that there just aren't any like bad Let's Players recording their TV anymore. Everyone has like it's easy enough. You could buy a capture card for like $50. You have a moderately contemporary computer, you're in business. That's it.
Yeah.
And now the consoles just have it built in.
Yeah.
You don't even need that. So, we should probably start with Darkside Phil at the beginning. We've talked a little bit about who he is, what he is. Let's talk about where he comes from. Darkside Phil was born Phil Burnell in April of 1982. And when he was born, there was a blizzard.
Is he older than you, Matt?
Yeah, he's 2 years older than me. I was born in 84.
So God saw what it had unleashed upon the world and desperately tried to freeze it out. But thankfully, Phil Burnell's walrus-like body protected him from the cold.
Even as a child?
Even as a child. Especially as a child.
Wow. I was a fat child, too.
So apparently
you were
Phil...
like Danny from, oh god, never mind. That joke didn't work.
Apparently Phil was raised Catholic. He went to, like, Catholic school.
So was I.
Well, so was I, so, like...
I'm the one who keeps getting, accused of being Darkside Phil.
That's true, you're right.
My parents sent me to public school because the other schools are expensive.
I guess that's the like my best friend and I have that thing, Matt, where we discovered we led the exact same life, except when we were like 8, they diverged and we became two different people. Are we gonna find that happened with you and DSP?
Maybe.
So Darkside Phil says that one Sunday he had an epiphany as he was looking around at people praising charity while sitting there locked in on a Sunday instead of going out and actually helping the world. And he decided, this is ridiculous. We should actually be going out and doing things, not sitting here on our asses all the time, which was the genesis of his decision to become a YouTube celebrity.
Really? Wow, what a humanitarian.
Yeah.
We shouldn't just say, let's do charity. We should be out there doing charity. So I'm going to record myself playing video games for forever.
No,
Do you want to know the reason why I stopped going to church?
Because it's boring?
Because you stopped believing in God?
Nope. Because Sunday mornings was also the same day that Dragon Ball Z was on. So I stopped going so I can worship a different Jesus.
You
Goku.
chose poorly.
No.
My family never went to church. Didn't care for it.
Oh, I didn't. My family didn't go. I went by myself because I thought that's what I was supposed to be doing. So they didn't. My parents didn't even fucking care.
So at some point in his youth, Phil gets really into video games, like most people do. It's the 90s. Arcades are huge. Street Fighter is huge. He has a job where, in his words, he pumps yogurt and tosses salad.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I thought you were going to say salads, and then I was going to laugh.
I didn't say salad.
No, you said, but plural, because then it's like, never mind.
Toss salad. But what in the world is a salad? Anyways. Let's just start this show over. Anyway.
You're bringing up tossing salads, man.
I didn't bring it. Phil brought it up, and I'm a witness. Anyways. So Phil, he spends all his money at the arcade, like most people do. But notably, at some point in his teenage years, he's more active than most people. He actually goes to tournaments, and he meets people. And he'll never really stop until he begins his YouTube career. He's kind of always going to tournaments on the East Coast.
I mean, Phil was like a notable professional player back in the day, right?
Yeah, we will cover exactly the big event that he is noted for here in a second. But he does have a few more ambiguous stories. One story, I don't know how old he is. I'm going to guess 12 or 13. He was at a comic shop with his parents. And there was a statue of Wolverine. And he was
That's not Wolverine.
And then he told his mom and dad, like, hey, look, I know my birthday's a long way away, and this thing's expensive, but if you put it on layaway now, you can give it to me for my birthday. And then he didn't get it, and he was like, I told you! This is what I wanted the most. And in his words, someone asked him, like, well, I mean, could your parents afford it? He's like, yeah, of course they could afford it. They were just being fucking stupid.
Uh-huh.
Those are Phil Burnell's exact words about his parents.
Parents just don't understand.
That's a reoccurring theme with Phil.
Oh, God.
Really?
So he has one story where he talks about how the popular girl chose him for prom or whatever. It's probably bullshit.
I'm sure it is.
He apparently worked his ass off all throughout high school and was his high school valedictorian. That's also probably bullshit.
Couldn't you dig up his school records?
No one has. So I assume it's bullshit. Not everyone is as lucky as Chris Chan to have, court documents brought up against them.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
And those are all easily available in the public record.
Yes. So, at some point in his senior year, Phil Burnell gets into a car crash.
Uh-oh.
A pretty bad one. And he's at the hospital, and his mom walks in. What's the first thing Phil's mom says to him?
Here's the Wolverine statue you wanted.
No.
I don't know. What's the first thing his mom says to him?
He says, how could you disobey me so clearly?
Did she tell him not to get in an accident?
I don't know, I assume. And then Phil, in his own words, says, fuck this. I'm a grade A student. I have a job. I have responsibilities of my own. You guys can kick me out if you want. I'll go live with my friends. I'm going to basically do whatever I want from here on out.
What a hero.
And Phil would continue to live with his parents until 2004.
But did he do whatever he wanted?
Apparently. He never said he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen nothing to the contrary. We're not going to have the scene where Chris Chan is yelling to take his house off the internet, and then his internet lumberjack dad walks in and explains why it's so important. It's just not going to happen. So
side note, did you ever confirm what that comment on our video said that Bob Chandler was a supreme grand wizard in the KKK?
I never done that, but you know, it does. I mean, they live in Virginia, so probably. I think it's legally required there.
Yes, by the government, you have to be.
Right.
Everyone has to be Imperial Grand Wizards in the KKK.
Right. Also, Phil Burnell lives in Connecticut, which is not super far from Virginia.
Or Delaware.
So, theoretically, there could be some family connections going on.
Maybe they're brothers.
I mean, he does have, like, a significantly older half-brother.
Uh-oh.
Have the, like, similar-aged...
Oh, is that the real secret origin that we're going to find out? Or that Darkseid Phil and Chris Chan were the same person?
Maybe. I mean, no matter what, Darkseid Phil is infinitely more successful than Chris Chan is. Like,
well, that's because Darkseid Phil actually put out a product that people wanted.
Sure, alright. Wanted, but... Sure.
I didn't say it was good, I just said... You're the one who linked me Darkseid Phil videos. You still do it constantly.
I do. I have to spread it. It's like, you know, when, like, you hurt and, like, you grab the wound and, like, you tell yourself, it's like, no, it's just, this is how the body deals with it. That's what I have to do with Darkseid Phil videos. Because they hurt all over. Anyways. So anyone who's watched Phil for any amount of time is aware that he has chronic back problems. He has like a herniated disc in his back or some shit. The origin of it is unknown, but supposedly this car accident could be where it started.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So Phil Burnell he attempts to get into an Ivy League college because he's a straight A student or whatever, and he doesn't get into any. And he believes the reason he doesn't get into them is because he is
a retard.
He's not a prestigious member of society.
Because he's a fat white male.
Yes.
And we live in an era where men are discriminated against, and we need to protect their rights.
Kind of. He does mention that he explicitly notes that the fact that he is white is part of the reason he didn't get in.
Oh. Oh.
So they have to meet their minority quotas. That's clearly why he didn't get in.
He touches on it. He also mainly says it's like, no, it's just because there's an elite who get into these places and that's all that gets in. Not that I am drastically overestimating my academic abilities. So instead, Phil goes to the University of Fairfield, where he goes for a degree in finance. For some reason.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a finance degree.
There isn't. I don't know why he chose it, though.
Because Darkseid Phil's an idiot.
Yeah. So he finishes it, but then he discovers no one is hiring for finance. They want you to have a work experience before you go...
Like any fucking job.
Yeah, so like they're like, well, do you want to take this unpaid internship for a while? And he's like, I got bills and stuff to pay. He's still living at home during this. So Phil is actively living at home, but he has bills and stuff to pay. He has a job. He's working the whole time he's in school, but he spends all his money on like Street Fighter tournaments.
Yeah. I was gonna say. I mean, some parents, they'll let you live there, but you'll have to pay your own shit, or you'll pay rent or something.
Right.
But this doesn't sound like that kind of situation.
Like if he really like pinched and pinned and saved, he could have gotten a job at a bank in finance.
Yeah, it sounds like he didn't want to.
But, he doesn't, and instead he just sort of does whatever. He works at, like, a Circuit City for a while, I guess. He works at a Best Buy for a bit. And he ultimately kind of becomes, like, a credit shark. He kind of has the job of, like, the one that, like, Leonardo DiCaprio's character... He kind of does what Leonardo DiCaprio's character in The Wolf of Wall Street does. Like, he sells super high interest to people who can't really afford it. And he does that for a while. He ultimately leaves the job because he's disgusted with it. Or I think he got fired. He doesn't move out during that time. And he lives with people who also work at the company. And then I guess he loses his job. And he's like, well, I guess I'm fucked. And it's about 2005. He's going to go live back home soon enough. But he wants to have one last hurrah. He wants to have one last thing under his belt. And that is when EVO 2005 happens. So for anyone who doesn't know, anyone listening, EVO it's probably the biggest fighting game tournament in the world.
Oh, yeah, easily.
It is huge. It is where the best of the best go. It's a big event. It happens every year. It's a fun event. And Phil is a fairly big component of the fighting game community, of the FGC on the East Coast. So he can get to EVO. He can qualify. He just has to afford it. And what he does is he takes out a ton of cash advance loans on his credit cards, where he is tens of thousands of dollars in debt.
Oh.
Holy shit.
And
sounds like a plan.
it's paid that debt off all the way to 2010, at least.
Oof.
But he's at it. He's at EVO 2005.
Hell, even Kevin Smith did the same thing to make his fucking Clerks movie.
Yeah.
So it's not an unheard of thing, but
No,
it's not exactly a thing you want to do. It's not a surefire bet.
It's a stupid thing,
Yeah.
but you gotta do what you love, and small. I guess it was a small price. It was a small price to pay to go and be around like-minded people who all have the same intense passion for Street Fighter as he does.
Yeah, it's just the difference is usually you'd want to do that kind of thing because it's something that you'll make money at, money or get somewhere.
Well, this really before EVO was a way that you could earn money. They had like a pot and everything, but it wasn't huge. It was pretty small. And in fact, a lot of people, they were paid their way to EVO by other people going who could afford it. Like, they were like, hey, these are my friends, they're really good competitors, I want to see them at EVO. I'll pay for them to come, and they can, like, bunk with me or whatever.
Wow.
And that's a common thing in the FGC. It looks like most people treat the tournaments as just like, oh, man, I'm going to go play some games with some people who love games like I do. Rather than, like, oh, I'm going to go win. Which is kind of how Phil took it. Like, he was going to win. He was going to... Or he was going to go as far as he could.
Okay.
So, EVO 2005 is what put Phil Burnell on the map. It's what made Darkside Phil a household name in the FGC. And we'll do the FGC eventually on this show. It's a community that has to be looked into. That has to be immortalized.
They're the ones who started the whole misogyny in games discussion.
They did, which is crazy, because if you look at the fighting game community, it is the most diverse community I've ever seen.
Yeah, but they just...
Oh, it was because of that one girl that was playing, and one guy made a joke about it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, he didn't make a joke about... I mean, he did, like, tell her to get ranked when he beat her in the game, but whatever.
Well, when I meant joke, I mean, like, he said something stupid that he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, the FGC is impenetrable. Like, there was recently one dude... I think I've sent this video to you guys, but he wins a match, and he is, like, throwing, like, he's, like, up on the chair, and he's yelling at fools, and this lady just grabs him to sit him down. And he grabs her back, and he looks her in the eyes, and he shouts, "Whose bitch this is?" And he shouts it a handful of times, just like, man, whose bitch this is? Like, he's amazed that this woman is just like, someone get this lady out of here. Like, man, like, whose kid is this, please? I'm trying to win a match.
Well, what right does she have to grab him? She's got no right.
And apparently, like, the lady was potentially trying to, like, get him disqualified, but it was all on camera, and she clearly grabbed him first, so it didn't happen.
See, those are the kind of women that you have to watch out for. The ones that they know you can't hit them. Because if you hit them, then it's your fault. And no matter what they did to you, you're automatically the bad guy. I hate those kind of women.
The FGC is largely impenetrable, but it is a incredibly loving community. And if you love fighting games as much as they do, you'll fit in.
Yeah.
They don't take the shit that other communities kind of do. So, EVO 2005. The fighting game genre, industry really, is in a lull. There has not been a new Street Fighter game for 7 years, really.
Jesus.
And
now there's too many.
There are still fighting games, like Guilty Gear is coming out at this time, Soul Calibur is coming out, Smash Brothers is still active, and they're still bad, but there are still Mortal Kombat games coming out. And it's really a testament to how huge Street Fighter is that when there's not a Street Fighter game coming out, the entire industry is in a stump. It's like if you could say that platformers are still around.
That's true, because that era of Mortal Kombat was not great.
You could say that platformers are still around, but if there's not a Mario game coming out, could you really say they're what they are or that they're popular? It's that. So, and arcades are dying. They're either dead or gone. There's so few.
Yeah.
So Evo says, we're going to die out soon. We got to let people know. We got to pick a home version of Street Fighter 2 to use at Evo. No longer are we going to require arcade cabinets. Pick a home console version. This is what we're going with. And the version they pick is apparently the PlayStation 1 version.
Okay.
So here's
that
what
sounds like a bad idea.
And this is, again, for people listening at home.
Don't die, Dylan.
For the longest time, arcade perfect ports were impossible.
Right.
Your home console version was a shadow of what you could get. And around the PS2 era, that stopped happening. That's when, okay, what you get at home is effectively what you get on console. And now it's the opposite. Now they come out on arcades to help fund development for the home console release.
Yeah, because Japan still has arcades.
Yeah, Persona Arena did that, where they come out in arcades, and then you get 6 or 7 more characters in the home release. Pokken Tournament is coming out this summer, and when it comes out in the winter, it'll probably have a fairly expanded roster.
It's pronounced Pokken Tournament.
Pokken.
Pokken.
Pokken. Anyways, so most people who are playing the fighting games think to themselves, that's fucking weird, but whatever. Why that version and not Hyper Street Fighter, I don't know. Because there was a PS2 version that featured every version of Street Fighter 2. Which includes, let me find it, the World Warrior, Champion Edition, Hyper Fighting, Super Turbo. Super Turbo is the one everyone plays. That's the tournament level one, for anyone who doesn't know. Hyper Fighting let you pick from any of them. Why they went with the PS1 version of Super Turbo and not that version and just said only pick the Super Turbo characters, I don't know. But then there's the breaks. So we have 2 different stories on what happened at EVO 2005. There is Darkside Phil's story, and there's Mike Watson's story.
Who's Mike Watson?
Mike Watson is basically keeping the West Coast FGC alive. He's the owner of Super Arcade, or he might own a different group that was at Super Arcade.
Okay.
He's constantly. He's a huge component of the FGC. He's basically helped keeping the entire community together and alive.
Okay.
So Mike Watson. So there's an interview with Mike Watson and another player that I want to play here today. It's about 2 minutes. And it is, it's a 2-minute interview with a couple of high-level players. I don't know who the one dude is, and I feel really bad about it. But don't say his name here in a second.
I'm sure a listener will tell us who it was.
Exactly who that guy is.
Yeah.
In 2005, I think it was, the 3 of you were absent from ST Top 8. What happened that year? You can defer that question if you'd like.
I think it was a combination of, I think it was the first console ST that we played on for a while, and we just kind of took it lightly, thinking that it's pretty much the same as arcade. So I really didn't get that version, go out of the way to get it and practice on it. And when we actually got there, it wasn't that different, but the minor differences were enough to throw us off. And yeah, I lost really fast, and then so did everybody.
It was probably on Turbo 3 or something, you know.
So yeah, it was just a little bit different than what we're used to.
So that is more or less Darkside Phil's story. This specific version has some unique characteristics to it. The sprites are a little bigger, so stuff doesn't always hit the same way. The hitboxes are a little different.
Okay.
And the way Phil tells it is the OGs, the original players, they're like, we're so good, doesn't matter. Or we're above this. Or whatever. That dude basically says like they underestimated those differences. And Phil did not. Phil found that version of the game, he studied it intensely, and then he won.
So Phil even admits, like, I won this year because everyone else disregarded this, and I didn't.
So Mike Watson kind of parrots what most of the FGC feel about 2005.
But after that, I kind of learned my lesson to always get the version that they're going to play on. Because you can't just assume that everything's going to be exactly as you remember. So.
And how about you, Mike? What happened that year for you? Is that the year PlayStation 1 was involved? Can we be real specific, or do you not know? I don't. There was a problem. I think it was the PlayStation version. Because when you play Bison and you hit a Fierce Flame and it only goes like 20% of the screen, you got a problem with the game. And you got that's the answer I was looking for. You got some idiot named DSP who's a total piece of shit, by the way. I like to get that on YouTube, but this guy thought he was hot shit because he beat me and Choi in a game that was like, it's like fucking Neo Geo conversion of Street Fighter or some crap. and he was so proud that he put under as a signature he's the #1 U.S. ranked Super Turbo player that year. But I mean, look at him now. I mean, he's just. He's got 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. 20,000 idiots are subscribed to him. That's great. Congratulations.
Wow. Who was that talking?
Mike Watson.
Wow.
Arcade. If you're anyone who's interested in learning more about the FGC, they stream every Wednesday night, and it's a fantastic stream. They hold a bunch of tournaments. The Viscount Low-Tier God fight that made the rounds on the internet a few months back was under his during one of his shows. The FGC kind of tells it like it is. It's not a sugar-coaty type of community.
No.
So that's really the question. The facts are that version had some unique characteristics to it, and Darkside Phil took advantage of those characteristics, and he was ranked 4th in the tournament, and he was the highest ranked American player that year. 1 through 3 were all Japanese players, and during this time, Japan is leagues above the American players, just inherently. So that's really the question. Is Phil a scrub who could only win because he had a broken version of the game, or should the other players have learned to have adapted as well as he did?
I don't know.
It's a catch-22. There's really no answer to it.
Yeah.
And Mike Watson has even come out and said later on, like, yeah, we should have taken it more seriously. That version of the game is fucked, but it's not irreparably fucked because Phil didn't place first and other players beat him.
Yeah.
Other players were winning. We underestimated it, and the fact that he didn't is why he came out. And Phil is not an awful player on normal, proper arcade version Street Fighter 2. He's pretty good. He's even tournament level. And he's not an awful Street Fighter 4 player either. But he thinks he is the greatest. So Phil comes under heavy fire because he is the most vocal about how he has won. He is ranked 4th. He is the only American player in like the top 5. So he calls himself the #1 North American player of Super Turbo for a while. And this is when he earns the moniker the King of Hate, because the way he says it, the OGs were hating on him constantly, and he turned that hate into fuel, and he became the best of the best.
Oh my god.
And supposedly, he wasn't at EVO to play Super Turbo. He was there to play Marvel vs. Capcom. So he did not. He trained like the day before, but that was it.
Supposedly, those are his own words.
Those are his own words. So,
Darkside Phil is terrible at video games.
he is. He's okay at Street Fighter though.
Yeah, no, he's a decent fighting game player, but other games, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. All right. So it's 2006. Phil has a job at like a helicopter company, I guess. I don't know what the fuck he does. He's like tech support at a helicopter plant.
Okay.
And 2008 rolls around, and Phil begins his YouTube career proper. And I'm looking at like the YouTube wiki here, and there's apparently some dispute over what his first playthrough is.
Really?
That's the sheer amount of content he puts out, is we're not really sure where it starts, just that it spews forth. But I'm pretty sure I know what his first playthrough is. And I believe Darkside Phil's original playthrough is Dead Space. The reason I know that is because, first off, it's at the very bottom of his playlists on his Classics channel. And it's formatted differently than his other playthroughs. Like, it's like, oh, here's Chapter 3, Part 2, and here's Chapter 6, Part 1, and here's the final boss, full, and stuff like that. So it's cut up weird. And I remember that because when I was a fan of his, I wanted to watch it, but I couldn't get it to work properly. Like, it's put in the playlist all wrong, and it's all screwy. However, around the same time, he is also playing through Spider-Man Web of Shadows.
I still play that fucking game.
And there is some overlap, and some videos are missing. And it's impossible to really tell which one is his, or which one came first. But it's one of those two. And then he has some Street Fighter videos that it looks like came out around the same time that could also be considered his first, his origin. So it's 2008. It's late 2008. Phil is on YouTube as a career, I suppose. Not as a career yet. He's just sort of doing it to do it. Internet careers have not taken off yet. And the economy is kind of in the shitter, and Phil gets fired from his helicopter job. So what is a guy whose only marketable skills is
helicopters?
That he kind of knows about helicopters, and a huge sub-community hates him.
Yeah.
Clearly, he needs to get a job as a YouTube celebrity.
Clearly.
And again, Phil is on the precipice. He is before PewDiePie. He is before Tobuscus. He is before Let's Plays became what they are now. But what he was adamant. He wanted to do it. He wanted to be a YouTube dude full time. And he is for a while, and it works out very well. And then in 2010, he is fired from Google's AdSense program.
Huh. I didn't know that was...
I've had that happen to me before. Why? Did he get fired?
The idea is that he was like fixing the ads to look like more people were clicking on them than they really were.
Oh.
And the way he was doing that is in one video, he's like, when he was telling his fans, hey, I got ads now, he's like, so, click on the ads and go there, and that'll send some money my way, and I'd really appreciate it. Which you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to tell people specifically to go through the ads just to do it, just to give you money.
Oh, right.
You're skewing the results.
Right.
Phil decides this is a bunch of bullshit. I'm leaving YouTube. I'm gonna start my own thing. And he instead, hold on, he goes to Blip. And Blip welcomes him with open arms. This is the era where Blip's like, we can beat YouTube. You know, we let you do like 30-minute videos, and we don't like have such an abusive copyright system. We're not going to let our content creators be stepped on. We can best YouTube. They have that guy with the glasses working for them. They think they're going to win. They're not going to win. They're going to die.
Yes.
So, Darkside Phil does a playthrough of the Dead Space 2 demo. And he starts his career on YouTube with Dead Space. He starts his career on Blip with Dead Space 2. It's fitting. This is a cut by the Kojima World Order, who we'll talk about in a second.
It changed to the GIF, and it moves when you talk, and it's adorable.
Yes. So here's a supercut of DSP's Dead Space 2 demo and why he was banned from Blip for it.
Oh, he was banned from Blip. Okay.
Wow.
Fucking black. Help, he's black.
Wait, hold on. Okay, gotta skip ahead a little bit. That was him being racist in his,
I heard.
That was him being racist in his GTA 5 playthrough.
This is what happens when you let the Jews do whatever they want. You've let the Jews overrun space, and now look at this. Their greed has had the artifact to turn everyone into necromorphs. So now I, the last remaining Nazi, must exterminate them. Hello, Jew. I killed with one shot. Damn. Yes, Jews in space. You'll see what happens. Oh, yes. Fuck you. It's you fight me now, Jew. You have no legs. Give me your money. You've hoarded it for far too long.
There's more, but you get the idea.
Now, let's see. I'm all for casual racism, but the thing is, let's have a little like context, like, or let's have it where it's fitting the situation. Why is he just ranting about Jews?
No reason. So if you've never played the Dead Space 2 demo, the Dead Space 2 demo takes place in the church level. And for those of you who don't know, in the church level, you kill a bunch of kids. So he's ranting about murdering the Jews as a Nazi while he's murdering the petrified corpses of children.
Okay.
And so it kind of makes sense that he got banned from Blip.
Darkside Phil is banned from Blip. He goes back to YouTube, and he kind of continues business as usual, I guess. YouTube doesn't give a fuck, alright?
No, YouTube does not give a fuck.
No. So I guess that's...
Unless it's about copyrighted material.
Yeah, then they give most a fuck.
Like, when it comes to copyright, they're real sticklers. But, you know, they don't care about the Jews.
They don't care about the Jews.
They don't
You
care.
heard it here first. YouTube does not care about the Jews.
It's just kind of weird.
So, there's some other, like, stupid things. Darkside Phil tries to put together, like, his own, like, little skit show called Project 7. I never watched it. I remember he was, like, bragging about it for a long time. The little bits and pieces I've seen are hot trash. And it's apparently coming back in 2015, so look forward to that.
Yeah. Hot trash coming 2015.
But for the most part...
That's this year.
Yeah. I mean, he was talking about how he was going to bring it back last year. And he said, maybe next year. He gets a girlfriend who is, like, significantly younger than he is. And there's one video where he reveals her for Valentine's Day.
And she's a Jew baby?
Maybe. But he's like twice her size, and the way he's dressed and the way he looks, it looks like he's her dad.
Oh.
So
is this like a Control-Alt-Delete situation?
A little bit. So it's sort of become an in-joke that his girlfriend Leanna, who is also a Let's Player, is secretly his daughter.
Oh, what the fuck? This is getting strange.
There's one video where he's playing Destiny and someone hops into his lobby and he's like, "Hey Phil, I wanted to know if I could get your blessing to date your daughter Leanna." So that's funny. But for the most part, Phil kind of falls off. And then Retu Pray gets a hold of him.
Really?
So once again, Retu Pray is a group of Let's Players from the Something Awful forums mostly. It's Slow Beef, who is the creator of Let's Plays, Diabetes, who's like his best bud, and then there's a second duo of Chip Cheesem, the current Let's Play of the moderator forum, and General Ironicus. And if you don't know who Chip Cheesem is, you should really look him up, because he makes really, really great Let's Plays. I might just think that because we have the same taste in video games, but I do think he's a really good, like, he shows off everything and he edits his videos really well, and he's got a good comedic timing. And he's also done Let's Plays of all the Metal Gear games, so there's that. It's an easy way to get on my good side.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's also done No More Heroes, which is another easy way to get there.
Oh, that game's so good.
It is. So, Chip Cheesem and Slow Beef do a video called Colonel, I Didn't Manage to Avoid Drowning, which is them watching Darkside Phil's Metal Gear Solid 2 Let's Play and making fun of it, as you do. So anyone who doesn't know, in Metal Gear Solid 2, there's a scene where Raiden pops up out of, like, he has to go through, like, a flooded basement, and when he pops up, he immediately calls his commanding officer and tells him that he managed to avoid drowning. And it's really dumb and funny. And we'll see it in action when we begin our Let's Play of those games. Eventually.
Yes, eventually. We're going to do that. In chronological order.
Chronological order. It'll be a while before we get to 2, but we'll get there.
Well, yeah.
So, there's another, they talk about Phil for a while. Slow Beef himself has sort of fallen in love with Darkside Phil. He's talked about him extensively, about how he is just an immensely entertaining fuck-up. And hearing Slow Beef talk about Darkside Phil, the sheer delight in his voice is heartwarming. And there's another video called A Day in the Life of Darkside Phil, which is a bunch of users who, like, try to do everyday life in the commentary style of Darkside Phil. Like, one user is, like, really upset because he can't figure out how to, like, he doesn't know what, like, he gets his keys out and he's like, oh, I just gotta guess which key opens the car?
Oh, yeah, see, these I've heard of.
Yeah, those are really great. You should look that video up. Listen to it.
Jeez.
So, those are funny. They get Phil riled up. And if you're gonna get someone, if you get riled up about anything on the internet, that's it.
Oh, he actually got mad?
Got upset about it.
Oh, no.
That's it. It's over. Once they know, it's over. That's all you're ever going to get. And then, from this event, the Sons of Kojima, the Kojima World Order is born.
What?
Oh, my God.
The fuck?
The Kojima World Order is based on a comment that Phil made during his review of, like, Metal Gear Solid 2, I think, where he, like, talks about how Hideo Kojima plasters his name all over the game. And, like, he mentions that it's the Kojima World Order. And then, from that, one user, based on the Retu Pray, made a compilation. And it is called This is How You Don't Play MGS2. It is about an hour long.
Jesus.
He made another one. This is how you don't play MGS3. It is 2.5 hours long.
Oh my god.
And from there, a subculture of its own is born. This is how you don't play.
What is that?
Has become its own little thing.
Oh man.
Various users will just take a playthrough of Phil's and edit together all the shit. So,
Jesus.
for example, this is how you don't play GTA 4. It is... Well, that one's only 10 minutes. That's how you don't play GTA San Andreas.
Does Phil do full playthroughs?
He does full playthroughs of just about everything. I have a list of games that he has quit. Here, that I'll read to you here in a second. This is how you don't play GTA 5. That's about an hour. Some of these get real long, and I want to find those. This is how you don't play Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. That's 2 hours.
Jesus Christ, that game's only like 5 hours long.
This is how you don't play Killer Instinct multiplayer. And you don't play MGS4. I'm trying to find the longest ones, and some of them are... Hold on. This is how you don't play Dark Souls 2. That one specifically is 3.5 hours.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And then each of the DLCs have a separate one that's about an hour.
Oh my god, that is amazing. That is so amazing.
If you're ever having trouble accomplishing something, put those on in the background. Because I swear to God, I was playing Metal Gear Rising. I was trying to get like all S ranks on the levels on Revengeance, and I was having a lot of trouble. And I put on
hard. It was on hard too. Don't forget that.
No, it was on Revengeance, the highest difficulty.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Which is above. It's 2 levels above hard.
Whatever. I know. It was whatever the hardest difficulty was, because you were telling me that you were giving me color commentary as it was happening.
Yes. And I was having a lot of trouble. And then the moment I turned his video on, I did it like one and done. Just because he's a vacuum of awful. He takes all your awful and brings it into himself and makes you a better person. So there's so fucking much content from different world orders. There's like the Miyamoto world order, the Satsuki world order, King of Divas vlogs, and it's just like sometimes just users will do it just to do it, and that's great. So I have here a full list of incomplete playthroughs that Darkside Phil has done. From beginning to last, some of them have reasons. So the first game that he did not finish, that he started and didn't finish, is Shadow Complex.
What, really?
Yeah. And there's no reason given. He just sort of stops.
I mean, I beat that game fucking 100%.
The second game he stops is Killzone 2, which I think he didn't like. He doesn't have a given reason. I don't like Killzone 2, though, so I kind of get that. Chronicles of Riddick, Assault on Dark Athena, because there was apparently like a game-breaking bug that prevented him from finishing it. Tom Clancy's Hawks.
They made a sequel to that.
Fracture.
I wanted that game to be good, and it wasn't. Wasn't it the last LucasArts game?
Was it?
I think so.
No, that had to be like a Force Unleashed game or something.
I'm going to look this up, but keep going.
WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2009, because of a copyright claim. WrestleMania, also copyright claim. Skate 2, which he threw a big old fit about how the game suddenly got super difficult, even though he did not play the original. So he admits that, like, well, I didn't play the original, but still, this is too hard.
Wow, Fracture was a LucasArts game.
I didn't even know that. GTA 4, The Lost and the Damned, copyright strike from Rockstar, but he did go back and finish it later. after he became a machinima partner. The Godfather 2, because there's a big old nude segment in the middle of the game.
Oh, isn't it butts?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Men's butts.
Splinter Cell Conviction, because of a false copyright claim, and then he just never went back to it. I think he finished Blacklist. I guess we'll find out. Death Spank, he stopped playing because he just didn't like it.
I like Death Spank.
Amy, he stopped playing because it's a piece of shit. SSX, he stopped playing the new one because he was frustrated with it. Jesus. Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems stopped due to difficulty.
I think we're starting to see a pattern.
Isn't that one of those children's games?
I think so. Hold on. Marvel Superheroes War of
It sounds like the Marvel Superhero Squad thing that was like the Rescue Rangers.
Oh, okay.
But Marvel characters, or whatever those things were, that those like weird, like bow-legged children's action figures that like don't really
no,
move.
it's like an old NES game, I guess.
Oh.
Okay, so that's more understandable. Ninja Gaiden for the NES, which he stopped because of frustration.
That makes sense.
Mega Man X3, Mega Man X6 both stopped for frustration. Prize Fighter stopped due to frustration and inability to fight the final boss.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Killzone Shadowfall stopped for unknown reason. Probably because he was...
I heard that game's ass. I own it and I haven't played it.
There's like a 30-minute sequence where he doesn't understand how to use like the grapple cord, and that's really awful. Ex Mortis 2 stopped due to unknown reason. SCP Containment Breach stopped due to frustration. Epic Mickey 2 stopped due to boredom. Ratchet & Clank Full Frontal Assault stopped.
Fuck you, man. I like Epic Mickey. Not you, of course, Darkside Phil.
Crisis 3 for unknown reason. Defiance stopped due to frustration. Amnesia: The Dark Descent. So there's a fucking story behind that one. Long time ago, Phil had a fan. And the fan's like...
One fan.
And the fan's like, Phil, I really want to see you tackle PC games, and I know your PC's not super up-to-date, so I'd really like to make you a PC. And I'll make it for less than it's worth. So you pay me however much money. I think it was like $1,000, and I'll get you a really good PC. And the dude, he did it. He did it. They both did it. And
That's really awesome.
Phil gets his new PC, and apparently, it is not. He gets in the new PC, and in the box he says, Phil, I also bought you a copy of Amnesia: The Dark Descent, because it's a really great game, and I'd love to see you play it someday. And then Phil spends the next 2 to 3 years talking about what a piece of shit the PC is.
Oh my god.
It is non-stop. I really wish I had prepared something DSP's Lemon computer.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Nope.
Especially when it comes to internet personalities.
Nope.
All right, here's the video.
Well, it is Saturday, July 5th, and of course, I hate to say it, me being a skeptic and being cynical, but here we are, the day when I was going to return to streaming. I've been at my Xbox 360 up and running. I was ready. I was going to do Ultra Street Fighter 4. Had hundreds of people chomping at the bit for me to return to play games today. And even though it wasn't a full return, I was still going to at least do some gameplay here from Washington. My PC decides to completely screw up and not work. Yeah. Now keep in mind, I booted it on the 3rd and the 4th.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Okay. This is the PC he bought after the fan made him one.
Oh.
So he spent $3,000 on a new one, and it didn't work as well as he wanted it to.
Clearly.
Darkseid still has PC problems. The dude who did make his PC is like named Chris or something, and he's like explained bit by bit, like, yeah, you know, it's not super top of the line, but for practical purposes, like, you don't need 8 gigs of RAM. Like, 5 to 6 is more than enough for most games. And Phil primarily plays stuff on console anyways. So he was going to be able to play, like, The Witcher just fine. There's a scene where he's playing The Witcher 2 and he, like, slams his keyboard really hard like a baby. So he eventually bought a $3,000 new computer that works even worse.
Nice.
Oh, it's beautiful. Let's continue with the list of games he hasn't finished. Killer is Dead. Phoenix Wright. My Turnabout Case number 5, which he stopped because the last case was too difficult. Corpse Killer. Whatever the fuck that is. Zombie U, stopped due to frustration. Dante's Inferno, removed the playthrough because it was flagged for nudity.
Which is totally cool on YouTube now.
Yeah, hold on one second. Fuck, hold on. God damn it.
Darkseid Phil's a weird dude, Matt.
What?
I said Darkseid Phil's a weird dude.
Oh, yeah.
Did you zone out?
Yeah, I was looking at butts.
Are you on Facebook?
Yeah. Also, I was just thinking, I mean, I couldn't count how many games I haven't finished because I just suck at games, but I don't pretend to be good at them either.
Yeah, and you don't, spend all of your fucking free time.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
I had to stab a guy.
Oh, no.
Bioshock Infinite Clash in the Clouds, because he was bad at it. Puppeteer, stopped due to being boring. Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy XIII, stopped due to being unable to defeat the final boss. Although he did find someone else's recording of the ending and commentated over that. Drakengard 3, and Transformers Rise of the Dark Spark. Lords of the Fallen for the PS4. Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric.
But he stopped because it was bad, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
And finally, Saints Row 4, Gat Out of Hell. He just didn't like that one, I guess. Okay. So, more Darkseid Phil drama. So the time came in about 2012, 2013, Phil realized he was an old horse. He was using archaic technology to do his playthroughs. He was recording his stuff with a camera. It just wasn't working. So he made the leap to get a capture card and actually record his content. In fucking 2013.
That's insane.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, filming the game off of the television always looked bad. It wasn't like, oh, this looks cool. It always looked like shit.
I mean, in fairness to Phil, he actually did it in such a way that it looked like the actual game, but just a little washed out.
Oh.
So you would not be able to tell immediately if you were playing, like, certain games.
I never watched this dude. I just always heard. I think I tried once, and I'm like, ugh.
Like I said, I watched him eat pizza in the first person, chew, and then tell us what he thought it tasted like.
Ugh.
Yeah!
So, Phil becomes a huge streamer at this point. He streams on Twitch like everyone else does. And then... Sorry. Ugh. So Phil becomes a huge streamer, and he's streaming at a very high rate. He is streaming 1080p, 60 FPS all the time.
Huh.
He adamantly refuses to go any lower. After 7 years of using a fucking camcorder. Ugh. Alright. So Twitch comes to him and says, Phil, you have to stop. You're using up more internet than some countries. The entire nation of Zimbabwe doesn't have any internet because of you. Can you knock it down a little bit? And Phil becomes a living embodiment of rage. He will not sacrifice a single, whatever the P's in 1080p are, he won't lose a single one. 1079 is too low for him. So now the hunt is on. Where will Phil go to stream his games? Now, Phil, you can subscribe to him on Twitch, which is a monthly fee of $5. And in early November, he decides, I'm not going to use Twitch anymore. After he's already gotten paid for that month from his users. So now the question, or rather, so now a huge sect of his fan base is really, really upset because they paid for a month's worth of content and they're not getting it.
Huh.
I mean, understandably, I'd be pretty pissed too.
Yeah.
Yes. So Phil ultimately decides that he is going to what he's going to do is he is going to just stream off of YouTube because they only put out at 30 FPS, but you can afterwards. You can afterwards, like when you upload it, if you record at 60 FPS, it'll go up as 30 FPS. Is the idea.
Okay.
So, Phil, fuck, what am I talking about? Why am I having such a hard time remembering this?
I don't know. Because you're sick.
God, wow. It's my immense. He's somehow like drawing all my ability to like
Speak
research
like a
shit
human being.
and recount it. Yeah, God. Stream on YouTube. People are upset about it because of Twitch. We liked the chat there. YouTube chat is awful.
Yeah, I would assume
Because
so.
it is.
YouTube streaming is garbage.
Yeah, I'm gonna. So fuck it. I'm just gonna stream it here. So he loses a fair chunk. And then Phil decides that Connecticut is too expensive. He doesn't want to live there anymore. He's lived there his entire life. It's too white for him. He's got to go where his people are. He's gonna move all the fucking way to Seattle
Jeez.
and live with his daughter.
Good for them.
You probably
God damn it,
no. So Phil has lived in a condo. He moves out of his parents' house in about 2008. He's lived there for the entirety of his YouTube career, I think. Where's he going to live? He's going to live in a gated community on the outskirts of Seattle, which is a fairly expensive city to live in, on a house that apparently has a $1.5 million mortgage
Is he?
with a brand new BMW.
So basically, he was lying.
No, he's not lying. He is hemorrhaging views and money constantly.
Yeah, but I mean about
He's also-
Connecticut being too expensive.
He may not be lying. It might be more expensive to live in. It might be less expensive to live in Seattle, but most people don't have a $1.5 million mortgage.
Jesus.
That is from a supposed docs of his home, which may not be super accurate. Okay, looking at it, it's actually $265,000 is the value of his house. But of course, a mortgage is not.
No, mortgage is collateral that he took out. He took loans out again. Of course he did.
Right. And I think like his aunt technically owns it. So, you know. Ooh, fuck. What else happened to Phil? His friend John Rambo doesn't like him anymore, I guess.
Who's John Rambo?
Phil has a friend, John Rambo. He's another big Street Fighter guy who does like his own little side story on YouTube. He's genuinely kind of funny. He seems like a cool dude. And then like when Phil moved out to the West Coast, he like unfollowed him on Twitter.
Why?
So, I don't know. 'Cause if you're not like in the immediate proximity of Phil, he can't do anything to you. Like he's not gonna come over and yell at you because the Twitter following mechanics are broken. Oh my god. When we started this podcast, I thought Dark Side Phil would be one of the most eventful episodes we did, and I have since had my eyes opened to the fact that there's so much more going on in the world of the internet. So there's some highlights of shit Dark Side Phil has been awful at. When he first played Bayonetta, it took him half an hour to get out of the first area.
What the fuck?
Like the first area of Bayonetta, there's like a section where you have to like jump over like a broken fence. He couldn't figure it out. For half a fucking hour. He just stood there trying to figure out where he was supposed to go. And there's an enemy who runs over that fence. So logically you would follow it.
Wow, even I'm not that bad at video games.
One of the most infamous videos of Dark Side Phil is a segment in the Half-Life mod Black Mesa.
Which is
With-
amazing.
Which I want to get. It took 17 minutes and 46 seconds to learn how to crouch jump.
Wow.
And I want to play you
while
some
he's
audio.
Screaming, I assume with people yelling at him.
No, this is right before he started streaming. So he is still, but he is recording his fucking computer screen with a camcorder. And I want to play you some audio from that video.
We do. Jumping on a fucking barrel for 2 hours trying to get on a fucking pipe.
Audio. it took him to figure out how to crouch jump. I mean, granted, crouch jumping is a little unintuitive if you've never done it before. But in an FPS, you have a fairly limited amount of actions. You can move, you can jump, you can crouch. You cannot jump. Naturally, you would try to crouch in the air to accomplish something. Or you would go look it up.
Yeah, you go look it up.
It's not this fucking... You can't really... You should... Jesus Christ.
I mean, is that the reason why people watch this guy? Because they know he sucks?
Some people do. Not a lot. But there are people like me who watch it for the incompetence that he is.
Jesus Christ.
I do have some audio from some of his worst Street Fighter matches that I'd like to play, because that's really where you see who Darkside Phil is.
No slide. What? With the 30 seconds? What a fucking scrub! You changed the time limit to 30 seconds. Oh my god. Absolutely terrible. He's garbage. He must be winning because of his fucking 30-second time limit bullshit. I think it was sweet, whatever. Yes. Oh my god. I'm never gonna look, he's gonna run away. This is how he wins. 30-second time limit. Oh my god, he's horrible.
So that's generally how he plays Street Fighter online, is he just sort of talks about how the other players are scrub and how they can only really do shit online and how awful they are, and he loses most of the time.
What a dickhead.
I'm so defeated.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but somehow, for all the time I've spent here, there's so little of substance. I just feel like I've been eating cotton candy all my life.
Jesus Christ.
And then I look at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, I eat constantly. Why am I nothing but skin and bone? And it's because I eat fluff. That's what I subsist on as an existence.
Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry your life sucks.
Yes.
Oh, wait, there's forum drama. I forgot about that. Darkside Phil has a forum, like a website. He owns a server for it. He pays like $1,000, like $500 a month to keep the server up and running.
Jesus.
It's a high quality server.
Which he doesn't need for a forum.
No, he doesn't need it for anything. He doesn't host his own fucking videos because he just embeds everything from YouTube. For some perspective, that guy with the glasses, which has the exact same website, has used the same server since 2006.
Yeah.
They've never upgraded it. They've probably never maintained it. I bet no one has even gone in to blow the dust off of it.
There's like 3 inches of dust covering the fucking thing.
It's probably slowly gaining sentience.
Why have my father left me here?
And everyone at Channel Awesome is just another voice in its head, and it's slowly going insane. It's the real origin story of Deadpool.
Oh god. It's like gaining all of their collective personalities, so it's become like a super critic troll.
It's going to go back in time and become Linkara.
He failed before he even began.
See, we think that like his dumb little plot lines are just his weird little fan fiction, but they're actually his autobiography.
Oh, I don't know if you knew this, but speaking of Linkara, and this, not that it matters, but his whole being dominated by dick girls thing, like he was actually dating a transsexual, however you're supposed to call
he was dating another reviewer named Iron, who was a pre-opt transsexual.
Yeah, so there you go.
He would essentially
Say that again?
and he dates a fat black woman with green hair.
Oh. Yeah, so I mean, I'm just saying, at least he got to live the fantasy. Is all.
Fat black woman, like over.
Jesus.
Well.
There's one day. This is around the time Assassin's Creed Unity
Oh God.
came out. I'm gonna stream, and then he didn't, and he said like, I don't know what came over me. I woke up this morning, tomorrow. Just about every day, so whatever. It turns out he made some post on another forum.
And just what did this post say? Because
Called, it's the WWE card game on iPad. Whatever that game's called.
Huh.
Card game iPad.
is he playing the
Supercard.
what? Oh, WWE Supercard, really?
WWE.
That you were gonna talk about Hearthstone or something.
No. And according to his non-stop all day to try and break like the top 10. And he believes bots or
Hold on, Dylan, you're really
like,
breaking up.
Yeah, too much breaking up. Like I can't understand what you're saying.
You just said I was really breaking up, and I had to take a minute to realize what that meant because I'm breaking up in many ways. Just,
Maybe we should keep it for a part. Maybe there should be a part 2 because it's too much. You're breaking up too much.
nah, we're almost dead. Or we're almost done. I haven't really talked a whole bunch. I mean, once I figure out how to tie this knot, whatever.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is basically the end of it. So he said he believes that there's a cabal of users across the who, in different time zones, using the same accounts, are playing the game to maintain the top 10 spots. Because he was apparently playing and spending like a madman to become number 1.
Fucking.
So, the moderators of his site got wind of this, and they thought, that's real shitty to do that. The people, to lie to them so clearly, and to spend all day screwing around playing WWE Supercard. So fuck it, let's just shut the website down.
Wow.
They didn't shut it down immediately. Instead, they changed Darkside Phil's avatar to one of a crying baby, and profiled the King of Crybabies, and then told everyone why they were going to shut it down, and then they shut it down and destroyed his site.
Oh shit! Good God.
And then Phil had to contract another fan to build him a new site. And eventually that fan will probably destroy it from the inside as well.
Wow, that's fucked. That's pretty messed up.
It's the greatest of all time.
Jesus.
Everything about it is amazing.
Jesus
Dark Side
Christ. So what? So like, did he freak the fuck out? Like,
Yeah, of course he did.
or just like, what extent of freaking the fuck out did he reach?
I mean, whatever. He cries on Twitter. He talks about what a victim he is.
Ugh.
Um,
Of course he does. He's a straight white male.
yeah, I mean, he talks about how, like, you know, these malicious users hacked the site and, like, destroyed it from the inside and upset a bunch of people who weren't even a part of the drama, but whatever. He's very passive-aggressive. Also, I just remembered this. He one time got in a little tiff with Mega 64.
Really?
Because during VGX, they had a video, a Todd and Aaron video, which is explicitly making fun of like the dude bro culture and the VGAs. And Darkside Phil said like, "Wow, I saw a minute of that and I immediately turned it off." And then the Mega 64, someone was like, "You know that's satire, right?" And like, "Yeah, sure it is." And then the Mega 64 crew like kind of like raved him about it, like, "Man, what a fucking idiot."
That's fucking crazy.
And I guess that's Darkside Phil. It still happens every day. He still plays games, people still make compilations of him being bad at them, and it'll never stop, hopefully.
I just like the fact that he eats so much fucking food in the first person.
I guess I have here his games of the year that he's done.
What are his games of the year?
Game of the year 2009, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Game of the year 2010, Red Dead Redemption. Game of the year 2011, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Game of the year 2012, The Walking Dead Season 1. Game of the year 2013, The Last of Us. Game of the year 2014, Dragon Age Inquisition. Hold the fucking phone. Hold on. Spike Video Game Awards. Hold on. Let me go down. Let me find 2009. 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. Alright. Game of the year was Uncharted 2. So, okay. 2009's Game of the Year was 2010's was Red Dead Redemption. 2011's was Skyrim. 2012's was Walking Dead. And then 2013 was Grand Theft Auto 4. So 3 of his 5 Game of the Year awards are the exact same ones of the VGAs. No, 4 of the 6, because they gave Inquisition Game of the Year this year too. And I think that says a lot about what we're talking about here.
Clearly. Oh man, that is great. Darkside Phil's a weird fucking dude, man. So yeah, so how does it feel to know that this is the man you have spent hundreds of hours watching?
I just want to die at Comcast.com.
And what do you think, Matt?
I'm glad I never bothered watching him.
And do you feel a certain kinship with him since you are constantly called Darkside Phil?
No. At least I know I'm worthless.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, pretty much. Remember, what year did he finally get a capture card, Dylan? 2012?
2012, 2013. Who fucking cares? We're all gonna die.
Yeah.
So that's our Darkside Phil episode. It had been a long time coming, and we never have to talk about Darkside Phil again, right?
I hope not.
It'll never end.
It'll never end, unless I guess we can when we if this keeps going like it is, whenever we get to our year-end episode where we look back at everyone, we'll see what Darkside Phil is up to.
It just
something fucking crazy and stupid.
You can't. It's like trying to stop a train. You can stand in front of it, you can pile shit in front of it, you can throw stuff at it, but it's just going to keep going. They're all just going to keep going, David. Chandler Lawson will keep going. Chris Chan will keep going. Peter Coffin will keep going. Laurel Bailey will keep going. Phil will keep going.
Oh, yes, and before we ended here, I did want to say
But I can't.
We needed to talk about a few of our upcoming shows. So, Dylan, what do you have on the docket for us to cover?
I'm about to cover the walls in my brains. How about that? Fuck it. Let's do Brianna Wu next.
Oh.
Wait, what? No, we gotta save that for Gamergate. What are you talking about?
Let's just fucking do her now because she thinks she's part of Gamer. She thinks the Law and Order episode is big. Fuck it. Let's talk about that Law and Order episode. This episode sucks. Let's talk about that.
You want to talk about Law and Order?
Let's talk about that Law and Order episode right now.
Oh, well, I didn't see it, so I'm gonna go because I have nothing.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either.
Jesus Christ. There's a super.
Why would I watch that?
There's like a super cut. Everything awful about it.
Yeah, I got a minute and a half through that before I was like, no, I can't watch this.
At the start of the episode, Ice-T, cop killer Ice-T, explains to his partner what a camper is.
Yeah. Why do you keep calling him a cop killer? Did he actually kill a cop?
No, that was his album title.
Oh, okay.
He rapped about killing cops, and when he came under fire for it, he was like, Arnold Schwarzenegger makes a movie where he murders dozens of cops, and I write one song about it, and now I'm the fucking bad guy?
I don't believe there was ever... Oh, in Terminator, he is a bad guy.
Yeah, but like his point was, like, they're vilifying me for nothing, and he's doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's true. It is kind of funny how people, even fans of rap, take... Well, actually, I take that back. A lot of people who listen to music think that the person who wrote the music literally did everything they're singing about.
Yeah, they did.
It's kind of strange.
But cop killer Ice-T explains to his partner what camping is, and at the end of the episode, his partner is about to be shot, and he appears behind him and shoots the shooter. And after cop killer Ice-T has killed a man, snuffed out a life, his partner goes, "Were you camping back there, detective?" And he's like, "It's a bad form, but it's an effective strategy."
Oh, Jesus.
And he wasn't even camping.
He wasn't. Cop killer Ice-T wasn't camping.
He was there for 3 days.
I'm only ever gonna fucking call him cop killer Ice-T.
That's okay.
I'm okay, yeah.
I don't know. Talk about Peter Coffin and his weird not wife. Talk about Game Grumps, I guess. I kind of want to talk about Game Grumps. That episode seems like a bunch of fun bullshit because I hate them.
Do that next?
Yes.
I'll be there for that one.
Okay, Game Grumps.
If I'm
do you want to do Game Grumps, or should we do? Should that be part of Ego Raptor's bullshit?
I mean, it'll be the opposite. Ego Raptor will be part of Game Grumps.
Okay.
And his weird fetal alcohol syndrome girlfriend.
What?
See you all next week. Maybe, probably not.
Shut up.
How expensive are razors?